Imagine waking up every day with a deep sense of peace, unshakable confidence, and a clear purpose. What if you could instantly let go of stress, overcome any obstacle, and truly live in the present moment? These aren't just dreams, they're within your reach. As the Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." Today we'll explore 12 powerful Buddhist teachings that can transform your life from the inside out. 1. Embracing obstacles as opportunities. In Buddhism, obstacles are viewed not as barriers that hinder our progress, but as valuable opportunities for personal growth. Every challenge you face, whether it's a difficult situation at work, a strained relationship, or a personal setback, is a chance to learn something new about yourself and the world around you. Instead of seeing these difficulties as reasons to give up, Buddhism encourages us to embrace them with an open heart. By shifting your mindset to view obstacles as learning experiences, you can transform even the toughest situations into stepping stones that lead you to greater resilience, inner strength, and wisdom. This approach not only helps you overcome challenges, but also equips you with the skills to handle future difficulties with grace and confidence. 2. Living in the present moment. Buddhism teaches the profound importance of living in the present moment, a concept known as mindfulness. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past. However, when you focus too much on what has been or what might be, you miss out on the richness of what is happening right now. Living in the present means fully engaging with your current experience, whether you're enjoying a meal, spending time with loved ones, or simply taking a walk. It's about being aware of your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. This practice helps you to break free from the cycle of stress and anxiety, allowing you to experience life more fully and with greater clarity. By grounding yourself in the present, you can find peace in each moment and appreciate the beauty of life as it unfolds. 3. Developing emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is the ability to remain calm, composed, and effective in the face of stress, adversity, or trauma. In Buddhism, developing emotional resilience is about understanding and accepting your emotions without letting them control you. Life is full of ups and downs, and while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Buddhism teaches that by observing our emotions mindfully, acknowledging them without becoming overwhelmed, we can create a space between the stimulus, what happens to us, and our response. This space allows us to choose how we react rather than just reacting impulsively. Over time, this practice strengthens your emotional resilience, helping you to bounce back more quickly from setbacks and approach challenges with a clearer, more balanced mind. By developing emotional resilience, you not only improve your ability to handle life's difficulties, but also cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace and stability, no matter what circumstances you face. 4. Not caring what others think. One of the most liberating teachings in Buddhism is the idea of letting go of the need for external validation, essentially not caring what others think of you. In our society, we're often conditioned to seek approval and acceptance from others. We worry about how we're perceived, how our actions might be judged, or whether we meet the expectations of those around us. This constant concern can be exhausting, leading to stress, anxiety, and even a loss of our true selves as we mold our behavior to fit the opinions of others. Buddhism encourages us to break free from this cycle by realizing that true peace and happiness come from within, not from the approval of others. When you stop caring about what others think, you give yourself the freedom to live authentically. You no longer feel the need to conform to societal norms or the expectations of those around you, and instead, you can focus on what truly matters to you. This doesn't mean disregarding others' feelings or becoming indifferent to the world around you. Instead, it's about recognizing that you are not defined by the opinions of others. By grounding yourself in your own values and beliefs, and by practicing self-compassion and self-acceptance, you build a strong foundation of inner confidence. This shift in mindset allows you to pursue your goals and passions without fear of judgment. You become more resilient to criticism and less likely to be swayed by others' opinions. Ultimately, not caring what others think leads to a life that is guided by your own principles and desires, rather than the shifting tides of external approval. It's a path to true freedom, where your actions are aligned with your authentic self, and your happiness is self-sustained, no longer dependent on the unpredictable reactions of others. When you stop seeking validation from others, you begin to trust yourself more deeply. You become your own source of encouragement and approval, which empowers you to take risks and step out of your comfort zone. This internal validation strengthens your resolve to follow your path, even if it goes against the grain of societal expectations. You start making decisions based on what you truly want and need, rather than what you think will please others. This not only leads to a more authentic and fulfilling life, but also inspires others to do the same. Your confidence in being true to yourself can have a ripple effect, encouraging those around you to let go of their own fears and live more authentically. By not caring about what others think, you free up mental and emotional energy that was previously spent worrying about others' opinions. This energy can now be redirected toward personal growth, creativity, and pursuing your passions. You become more present in your own life, more in tune with your desires, and more committed to your personal goals. This shift can lead to greater productivity and a deeper sense of fulfillment, as you are no longer hindered by the fear of judgment or the need to conform. In relationships, this approach fosters deeper connections. When you are true to yourself, you attract people who appreciate and accept you for who you are, rather than for the facade you might have presented to gain approval. This authenticity deepens your relationships, as they are built on mutual respect and genuine connection, rather than on superficial judgments. When you release the need for external validation, you also become more compassionate towards others. You begin to understand that everyone is on their journey, facing their challenges and insecurities. This understanding fosters empathy, as you realize that just as you seek to live authentically, others are also striving to find their path. By letting go of judgment, both towards yourself and others, you create a more supportive and accepting environment for everyone. In the broader sense, not caring what others think allows you to live a life that is true to your essence. It gives you the courage to pursue your dreams, even if they don't align with societal norms or expectations. It empowers you to take bold steps in your personal and professional life, knowing that your worth is not determined by others' perceptions, but by your sense of self. This mindset fosters a life of authenticity, freedom, and true contentment, where your actions and decisions are guided by your inner values, rather than the fluctuating opinions of the outside world. 5. Building self-discipline. Self-discipline is a cornerstone of personal growth and success, and in Buddhism, it is viewed as a vital practice for cultivating a balanced and meaningful life. Self-discipline, or right effort as it's known in Buddhist teachings, involves consistently applying yourself to positive and constructive actions, even when it's challenging. It's about making conscious choices that align with your values and goals, rather than being swayed by fleeting desires or external pressures. In a world filled with distractions and temptations, building self-discipline is essential for achieving your aspirations. Whether it's sticking to a meditation routine, pursuing a long-term goal, or simply maintaining healthy habits, self-discipline is what keeps you on track. It is the inner strength that enables you to resist short-term temptations in favor of long-term fulfillment. This discipline is not about being rigid or overly strict with yourself. Rather, it's about having the determination to follow through on what you know is best for you, even when it's difficult. Buddhism teaches that self-discipline is cultivated through mindfulness and awareness. By being fully present and aware of your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you can better recognize when you're being led astray by impulses or habits that don't serve your higher purpose. This awareness allows you to pause, reflect, and make conscious choices that align with your values and long-term goals. Over time, this practice strengthens your willpower, making it easier to stay committed to your path. Self-discipline also involves setting clear intentions and goals. In Buddhism, intention is a powerful force that drives our actions and shapes our lives. By setting clear and meaningful intentions, you give yourself a sense of direction and purpose. These intentions act as a compass, guiding your actions and decisions in alignment with your deeper values. When you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve and why it matters to you, it becomes easier to muster the discipline needed to stay focused and motivated. Self-discipline in Buddhism is not about suppressing or denying your desires, but about transforming them. It's about recognizing that some desires, when left unchecked, can lead to suffering, while others can be channeled into positive and constructive actions. For example, the desire for comfort might lead to procrastination or unhealthy habits, but with self-discipline, that same desire can be redirected towards creating a healthier lifestyle or achieving personal goals. This transformation of desire is key to building a life that is both fulfilling and aligned with your highest values. Another important aspect of self-discipline is patience. Often the rewards of self-discipline are not immediate. It takes time for the benefits of your efforts to materialize, whether it's mastering a new skill, achieving a health goal, or cultivating a deep meditation practice. Buddhism teaches the importance of patience and perseverance in these endeavors. By understanding that progress is gradual and that setbacks are part of the journey, you can maintain your discipline even when results are not immediately visible. Self-discipline also extends to how you manage your time and energy. In our busy lives, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the demands of work, relationships, and daily responsibilities. Building self-discipline involves prioritizing your time and energy towards activities that are truly important and beneficial. This might mean saying no to distractions or commitments that don't align with your goals, or setting aside time each day for practices like meditation, exercise, or study. By being disciplined with your time, you ensure that you are investing in activities that nourish your growth and well-being. Self-discipline in Buddhism is deeply connected to the practice of ethical living. Right effort, one of the steps on the Noble Eightfold Path, emphasizes the importance of making ethical choices in our actions, speech, and thoughts. This involves being disciplined in avoiding harmful behaviors and cultivating positive qualities such as kindness, honesty, and compassion. By aligning your actions with these ethical principles, you build a strong foundation for a life of integrity and peace. Self-discipline also involves the ability to endure discomfort and challenges without losing sight of your goals. In Buddhism, this endurance is referred to as kshanti, or patience. It's the strength to persist in your efforts even when the going gets tough, and to remain committed to your path despite obstacles or difficulties. This kind of resilience is essential for overcoming the inevitable challenges that arise in life and is a key component of self-discipline. 6. Building mental strength. Building Mental strength is a fundamental aspect of Buddhist practice, and it is essential for leading a balanced, resilient, and fulfilling life. Mental strength in Buddhism refers to the ability to maintain a calm, focused, and clear mind, regardless of external circumstances. It's about cultivating the inner fortitude needed to face life's challenges with equanimity, wisdom, and compassion. In today's fast-paced world, where stress, anxiety, and uncertainty are common, building mental strength is more important than ever. It allows you to navigate the ups and downs of life without being overwhelmed by emotions or circumstances. Mental strength gives you the resilience to bounce back from setbacks, the clarity to make wise decisions, and the patience to persevere in your goals. One of the key practices for building mental strength in Buddhism is meditation. Meditation is the cornerstone of Buddhist practice because it trains the mind to focus, calm down, and develop insight. Through regular meditation, you learn to observe your thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. This practice helps you develop mental clarity and stability, which are essential for maintaining composure in the face of challenges. Meditation also helps you cultivate mindfulness, the practice of being fully present in the moment. Mindfulness allows you to see things as they are, without distortion or judgment. This clarity of mind is crucial for making decisions that are aligned with your values and for responding to situations with wisdom rather than reacting impulsively. By being mindful, you can catch negative thought patterns before they spiral out of control and replace them with more constructive ways of thinking. Another important aspect of building mental strength is developing emotional intelligence. In Buddhism, this means understanding and managing your emotions in a way that supports your well-being and the well-being of others. Emotional intelligence involves recognizing your emotions, understanding their sources, and responding to them in a balanced and compassionate manner. This practice helps you avoid being swept away by strong emotions like anger, fear, or sadness, which can cloud your judgment and lead to unwise actions. Buddhism also teaches the importance of practicing detachment or non-attachment as a way to build mental strength. Detachment doesn't mean indifference or lack of care. Rather, it means not being overly attached to outcomes, possessions, or even certain ideas about yourself. By practicing detachment, you free yourself from the mental and emotional turmoil that often comes with clinging to things that are beyond your control. This sense of inner freedom allows you to maintain peace of mind, even when things don't go as planned. Building mental strength also involves cultivating positive mental states. In Buddhism, this includes developing qualities such as loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. These positive states of mind not only contribute to your happiness, but also serve as a protective shield against negative influences. For example, by cultivating loving kindness, you can counteract feelings of anger or resentment. By developing equanimity, you can remain calm and balanced in the face of difficulties. Another practice that strengthens mental resilience is the contemplation of impermanence. In Buddhism, the understanding that everything is subject to change is a fundamental teaching. By regularly contemplating the impermanent nature of life, you learn to accept change as a natural part of existence. This acceptance reduces the fear and anxiety associated with loss and helps you develop a more flexible and adaptable mindset. With this perspective, you can face life's inevitable changes with grace and strength, knowing that nothing lasts forever. Building mental strength also requires a commitment to self-discipline and consistent effort. Just as physical strength is built through regular exercise, mental strength is developed through consistent practice. This means making time each day for practices like meditation, mindfulness, and self-reflection, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. Over time, these practices become habits that fortify your mind and build the resilience needed to handle life's challenges. Cultivating mental strength involves learning to embrace discomfort. In Buddhism, discomfort and suffering are seen as opportunities for growth and transformation. By willingly facing discomfort, whether it's physical, emotional, or psychological, you develop the capacity to endure hardship without being defeated by it. This resilience is a key component of mental strength, as it allows you to remain steadfast in the pursuit of your goals, even in the face of adversity. An often overlooked aspect of building mental strength is the importance of rest and recovery. In Buddhism, balance is key, and this includes balancing effort with rest. Just as a strong mind requires discipline and practice, it also requires periods of rest and reflection. Taking time to rest, whether through sleep, relaxation, or quiet contemplation, allows your mind to recharge and recover from the stresses of daily life. This balance ensures that your mental strength is sustainable over the long term. Building mental strength in Buddhism is deeply connected to cultivating wisdom. Wisdom, in this context, is not just intellectual knowledge, but a deep understanding of the nature of reality, including the nature of suffering, impermanence, and the interconnectedness of all things. By cultivating wisdom through study, reflection, and meditation, you develop a profound sense of clarity and insight that guides your actions and decisions. This wisdom enables you to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and confidence, knowing that you are acting in alignment with the deeper truths of existence. Building mental strength is a multifaceted practice that involves meditation, mindfulness, emotional intelligence, detachment, and the cultivation of positive mental states. It requires consistent effort, a willingness to embrace discomfort, and a commitment to balance and rest. Through these practices, you can develop the resilience, clarity, and wisdom needed to face life's challenges with equanimity and grace. As you strengthen your mind, you not only enhance your ability to handle adversity, but also cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace, fulfillment, and purpose. 7. Practice right livelihood. Right livelihood is one of the key aspects of the Noble Eightfold Path in Buddhism, which offers guidance on how to live an ethical and fulfilling life. The concept of right livelihood goes beyond simply earning a living. It encompasses the idea of making a living in a way that is ethical, compassionate, and aligned with your deepest values. It's about ensuring that the way you earn your income contributes positively to the world and does not cause harm to others or the environment. In today's world, where the pursuit of wealth and success often takes precedence, the principle of right livelihood serves as a reminder to reflect on how our work impacts others and the planet. Practicing right livelihood means choosing a career or livelihood that supports not only your financial needs, but also your spiritual and moral values. This practice encourages us to consider the broader consequences of our work, ensuring that it contributes to the well-being of society rather than exploiting or harming others. At its core, right livelihood is about living in harmony with the world around you. It involves making choices that are not only beneficial for yourself, but also for the community and the environment. This might mean avoiding careers or industries that involve exploitation, deception, or harm, such as those that profit from violence, dishonesty, or environmental destruction. Instead, it encourages pursuing work that promotes the welfare of others, such as in fields like education, healthcare, social work, environmental conservation, or any profession that aligns with ethical principles. Right livelihood also involves being mindful of how your work affects your own well-being. A job that pays well but causes immense stress, requires unethical behavior, or leads to burnout is not aligned with the principles of right livelihood. It's important to find work that not only meets your financial needs, but also allows you to maintain your mental, emotional, and physical health. This balance is crucial for leading a life that is both fulfilling and sustainable in the long term. In addition to considering the ethical implications of your work, right livelihood also encourages simplicity and contentment. In Buddhism, the endless pursuit of material wealth and status is seen as a source of suffering. Right livelihood teaches that true happiness comes not from accumulating more, but from finding contentment with what you have and living in a way that is not driven by greed or excessive desire. This mindset encourages you to seek satisfaction in your work itself, in the service it provides to others, the skills it develops in you, and the positive impact it has on the world, rather than in the material rewards it brings. Practicing right livelihood can lead to a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. When your work aligns with your values, it becomes more than just a means to an end. It becomes a way to express your beliefs and contribute to something greater than yourself. This alignment brings a sense of integrity and authenticity to your life, as you are living in accordance with what you truly believe is right. This not only enhances your own well-being, but also inspires others to live with integrity and compassion. Right livelihood also has a significant social dimension. In Buddhism, there is a strong emphasis on interconnectedness, the idea that all beings are connected and that our actions have a ripple effect on others. By practicing right livelihood, you contribute to creating a more just and compassionate society. Your work becomes a way to promote social good, support sustainable practices, and contribute to the overall well-being of your community. This perspective helps you see your work not just as a personal endeavor, but as a part of a larger effort to create positive change in the world. Right livelihood encourages a sense of responsibility and stewardship. It asks us to consider the long-term impacts of our work on future generations and the environment. This means being mindful of the resources we use, the waste we produce, and the ecological footprint of our industries. By choosing work that supports environmental sustainability, you contribute to the preservation of the planet for future generations, ensuring that your livelihood is in harmony with the natural world. For those who may find themselves in jobs that do not fully align with the principles of right livelihood, Buddhism encourages gradual change rather than drastic action. It's important to recognize that not everyone has the immediate ability to change their job or career path. However, by becoming more aware of the ethical implications of your work, you can begin to make small changes that move you closer to right livelihood. This might involve seeking out ways to make your current job more ethical, exploring new career opportunities, or finding ways to contribute positively to your community outside of work. Right livelihood also includes being generous with your time, resources, and skills. Buddhism emphasizes the importance of generosity, or dana, as a means of cultivating compassion and reducing attachment. By sharing the fruits of your labor with others, whether through charitable giving, volunteering, or simply helping those in need, you embody the principles of right livelihood. This practice not only benefits others, but also enriches your own life by fostering a sense of connection and purpose. Practicing right livelihood is about making ethical choices in your work that align with your values, contribute positively to society, and support your own well-being. It encourages you to find contentment in simplicity, to seek fulfillment in service rather than material gain, and to be mindful of the broader impact of your work on the world. By aligning your livelihood with these principles, you can lead a life that is not only successful, but also deeply meaningful and in harmony with the teachings of Buddhism. This approach to work fosters a sense of integrity, purpose, and connection, ultimately contributing to a more just, compassionate, and sustainable world. 8. Let go of attachment. Letting go of attachment is one of the most profound teachings in Buddhism and is central to achieving inner peace and liberation from suffering. In Buddhist philosophy, attachment is seen as the root cause of much of our suffering. It refers to our tendency to cling to people, possessions, ideas, and even our self-identity with the belief that they will bring us lasting happiness. However, because everything in life is impermanent and subject to change, these attachments often lead to disappointment, anxiety, and pain when they inevitably fade or are lost. Attachment in Buddhism is not limited to material possessions. It also encompasses emotional and psychological attachments. We often attach ourselves to certain outcomes, relationships, and even our perceptions of who we are. For example, we might cling to the idea of being successful in a specific way or being loved by a particular person. When these desires are not met, or when circumstances change, we experience suffering because our happiness was dependent on something outside of our control. Buddhism teaches that by letting go of attachment, we can free ourselves from this cycle of suffering. This doesn't mean we should not care about people or things, but rather we should engage with the world without clinging to it. Letting go of attachment allows us to experience life more fully, without the constant fear of loss or the need to control outcomes. One way to begin letting go of attachment is by practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us become aware of our attachments and the ways they influence our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. By observing these attachments without judgment, we can start to see them for what they are, temporary and often the source of unnecessary suffering. This awareness creates the space needed to gradually release our grip on these attachments. Another important aspect of letting go of attachment is understanding the concept of impermanence, or anicca in Pali. Impermanence is a fundamental truth in Buddhism that states everything in the universe is constantly changing. Nothing remains the same, and everything we experience is in a state of flux. When we truly internalize this understanding, we realize that clinging to anything, whether it's a person, object, or idea, is futile because it will eventually change or come to an end. This realization helps us to loosen our attachments and approach life with a sense of openness and acceptance. In addition to mindfulness and the contemplation of impermanence, meditation is a powerful tool for letting go of attachment. Through meditation, we can develop a deeper understanding of our mind's tendencies to cling and grasp. For instance, practices like vipassana, insight meditation, allow us to observe our thoughts and emotions as they arise and pass away without getting caught up in them. This practice helps us see the transient nature of our experiences and cultivates a sense of detachment and equanimity. Another practice that aids in letting go of attachment is the cultivation of loving kindness, or metta. Loving kindness meditation involves generating feelings of goodwill and compassion towards oneself and others. By practicing loving kindness, we learn to love and care for others without becoming attached to them. This form of love is unconditional and does not depend on the other person fulfilling our desires or expectations. It allows us to maintain deep, meaningful connections without the suffering that often accompanies attachment. Letting go of attachment also involves releasing our grip on our ego or sense of self. In Buddhism, the self is considered an illusion. What we perceive as a fixed, unchanging identity is actually a collection of constantly changing thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Our attachment to this illusory self often leads to suffering as we try to protect and enhance this identity, clinging to roles, achievements, and perceptions that reinforce it. By letting go of the attachment to the ego, we open ourselves to a more expansive understanding of our true nature, which is interconnected with all life. Letting go of attachment doesn't mean living a life of detachment or apathy. It's about finding a balance where you can fully engage with life, enjoy relationships, and appreciate what you have without being dependent on them for your happiness. It's the difference between holding something lightly in your hand, knowing you can let it go when needed, versus grasping it tightly, fearing its loss. This balance allows for a more joyful and liberated way of living, where you can savor life's experiences without being weighed down by the fear of losing them. Another important aspect of letting go of attachment is practicing gratitude. When we focus on being grateful for what we have in the present moment, rather than fixating on what we might lose or what we don't have, we naturally reduce our attachment to outcomes and possessions. Gratitude shifts our perspective from one of lack and desire to one of appreciation and contentment, which helps to diminish the power of attachment in our lives. Letting go of attachment also involves embracing uncertainty. Life is inherently uncertain, and our attempts to cling to people, things, or outcomes are often driven by a desire to create a sense of security in an unpredictable world. By accepting the uncertainty of life and letting go of the need to control every aspect of it, we can experience a profound sense of freedom. This acceptance allows us to move through life with more ease, adaptability, and resilience. In relationships, letting go of attachment means loving others without the need to possess or control them. It means giving those we care about the freedom to be themselves without imposing our expectations or demands. This kind of love is unconditional and non-possessive, allowing for deeper and more authentic connections. When we let go of attachment in relationships, we can love more fully, without fear, and appreciate the presence of others in our lives as a gift rather than a need. Letting go of attachment is an ongoing practice. It's not something that happens overnight, but rather a gradual process of loosening the grip on our desires, fears, and expectations. By continuously practicing mindfulness, meditation, gratitude, and loving kindness, we can slowly but surely release our attachments and experience the freedom and peace that come with it. This practice leads to a life of greater serenity, wisdom, and joy, where we are no longer held back by the chains of attachment, but are free to live fully in the present moment. Letting go of attachment is a profound and transformative practice in Buddhism. It involves recognizing the impermanent nature of all things, cultivating mindfulness and detachment, and embracing life with an open and non-clinging heart. By letting go of attachment, we free ourselves from the suffering that comes from clinging to what is impermanent and uncontrollable. This liberation allows us to experience life more fully, love more deeply, and find true peace and contentment within ourselves. 9. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful and transformative practice deeply rooted in Buddhist teachings, and its effects can be profound when cultivated daily. In Buddhism, gratitude is more than just a fleeting feeling of thankfulness. It is a way of life that permeates every aspect of our existence. Practicing gratitude daily can significantly shift your mindset, opening the door to greater happiness, contentment, and spiritual growth. At its core, gratitude in Buddhism is about recognizing and appreciating the interconnectedness of all beings and the many conditions that make our lives possible. This perspective encourages us to see beyond our individual circumstances and acknowledge the vast web of life that supports us. By practicing gratitude, we develop a sense of humility and reverence for the world around us, understanding that our well-being is dependent on countless factors and beings. One of the fundamental teachings in Buddhism is the concept of dependent origination, which explains that all phenomena arise in dependence upon a complex network of causes and conditions. When we practice gratitude, we acknowledge this interconnectedness and begin to see how our lives are sustained by the efforts and sacrifices of others, whether it's the farmer who grows our food, the teacher who imparts knowledge, or the family and friends who provide love and support. This realization deepens our appreciation for life and helps us cultivate a sense of belonging and connection to the world around us. Practicing gratitude daily also involves being mindful of the present moment and recognizing the blessings that are often overlooked. In our fast-paced lives, it's easy to take things for granted or focus on what we lack rather than what we have. Gratitude shifts our focus from scarcity to abundance, from dissatisfaction to contentment. By taking time each day to reflect on the things we are grateful for, whether it's a kind gesture from a friend, a beautiful sunset, or simply the breath in our lungs, we train our minds to notice and appreciate the positive aspects of our lives. This practice not only enhances our overall sense of well-being, but also fosters a more optimistic and resilient outlook. Another important aspect of practicing gratitude in Buddhism is acknowledging the role of suffering in our lives. While it might seem counterintuitive, being grateful for challenges and difficulties is a powerful way to cultivate spiritual growth. Buddhism teaches that suffering is an inevitable part of life and that it provides valuable opportunities for learning and transformation. By practicing gratitude for our struggles, we can shift our perspective from one of victimhood to one of empowerment. We begin to see challenges not as obstacles, but as stepping stones on our path to greater wisdom and compassion. Gratitude in Buddhism also extends to all sentient beings. It's about developing a deep sense of appreciation for the interconnectedness of all life and the role that other beings play in our existence. This includes gratitude for animals, plants, and even inanimate objects, all of which contribute to our survival and well-being. For instance, when we eat a meal, practicing gratitude involves not only appreciating the food itself, but also recognizing the interconnected chain of beings and elements that made that meal possible, from the earth that nourished the crops to the hands that harvested them. This broader sense of gratitude deepens our respect for the environment and fosters a more compassionate and responsible way of living. To cultivate gratitude daily, many Buddhists incorporate specific practices into their routines. One such practice is keeping a gratitude journal where you write down things you are thankful for each day. This simple yet powerful exercise helps to reinforce positive thinking patterns and serves as a reminder of the many blessings in your life. Another practice is the gratitude meditation, where you sit quietly and reflect on the things, people, and experiences you are grateful for. This meditation can be particularly powerful when done in the morning to set a positive tone for the day, or in the evening as a way to close the day with a heart full of appreciation. Another practice is expressing gratitude directly to others. This can be as simple as saying thank you or writing a note of appreciation to someone who has made a positive impact on your life. In Buddhism, this is seen as a way to cultivate positive relationships and spread kindness, which in turn creates a ripple effect of goodwill in the world. Expressing gratitude to others not only strengthens your relationships, but also reinforces your own sense of connectedness and fulfillment. Gratitude also plays a crucial role in overcoming negative emotions such as envy, resentment, and anger. When we focus on what we are grateful for, it becomes difficult to hold on to feelings of bitterness or dissatisfaction. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is lacking to what is present and abundant in our lives, helping us to let go of negative emotions and embrace a more positive and peaceful state of mind. This shift in perspective can lead to greater emotional resilience and a more harmonious way of living. Gratitude is also closely linked to the practice of generosity, or dana. Generosity is considered one of the highest virtues in Buddhism, and it is deeply intertwined with gratitude. When we are truly grateful for what we have, we naturally feel a desire to share our blessings with others. This act of giving, whether it's offering material goods, time, or compassion, not only benefits others, but also deepens our own sense of gratitude and fulfillment. Generosity, rooted in gratitude, creates a cycle of positive energy that enriches both the giver and the receiver. Practicing gratitude daily helps to cultivate a sense of contentment, or santosha. Contentment is the ability to find peace and satisfaction in the present moment, regardless of external circumstances. In Buddhism, contentment is seen as a key to happiness because it frees us from the constant desire for more. When we are content, we appreciate what we have, and we are less likely to be swayed by the endless pursuit of material wealth or superficial achievements. Gratitude nurtures contentment by shifting our focus from what we lack to what we have, allowing us to experience true peace and joy in the present moment. Gratitude also has a profound impact on our physical and mental health. Research has shown that practicing gratitude can lead to better sleep, reduced stress, and improved overall well-being. In Buddhism, this connection is understood through the concept of mind-body harmony, where a peaceful and grateful mind contributes to a healthy body. When we practice gratitude daily, we not only nourish our spiritual well-being, but also support our physical health, creating a holistic sense of wellness. Practicing gratitude daily helps us to live in alignment with the Buddhist principles of mindfulness and compassion. Gratitude keeps us grounded in the present moment, helping us to appreciate the beauty and richness of life as it unfolds. It also deepens our compassion for others as we become more aware of the interconnectedness of all beings and the many ways in which we are supported by the world around us. By practicing gratitude, we cultivate a heart full of appreciation, kindness, and joy, which radiates outwards and positively impacts those around us. Practicing gratitude daily is a transformative practice that can significantly enhance your spiritual growth, emotional well-being, and overall happiness. It involves recognizing the interconnectedness of all life, appreciating the present moment, and embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. By incorporating practices such as gratitude journaling, meditation, and expressing thanks to others, you can cultivate a deep and lasting sense of gratitude that enriches your life and the lives of those around you. As you develop a daily gratitude practice, you will find that it opens your heart, deepens your sense of contentment, and leads to a more peaceful, joyful, and fulfilling life. 10. Prioritize inner peace. Prioritizing inner peace is a fundamental teaching in Buddhism and is considered essential for living a fulfilling and meaningful life. Inner peace is not merely the absence of conflict or stress, but a deep, abiding sense of calm and tranquility that persists regardless of external circumstances. It is a state of mental and emotional stability that allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace, resilience, and wisdom. In a world that is often chaotic and unpredictable, prioritizing inner peace can provide a solid foundation for personal well-being and spiritual growth. Inner peace in Buddhism is closely linked to the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment, aware of your thoughts, emotions, and surroundings without judgment. When you cultivate mindfulness, you become more attuned to the present moment and less consumed by worries about the past or anxieties about the future. This practice helps to quiet the mind and creates a space for inner peace to flourish. By regularly practicing mindfulness, you learn to observe your thoughts and feelings with detachment, allowing you to respond to situations with greater clarity and composure rather than reacting impulsively. Another key aspect of prioritizing inner peace is the practice of meditation. Meditation is the cornerstone of Buddhist practice and is a powerful tool for calming the mind and cultivating inner tranquility. Through meditation, you learn to still the mental chatter that often leads to stress and distraction, allowing you to connect with a deeper sense of peace within yourself. Regular meditation practice helps to develop concentration, emotional balance, and a sense of inner stability that persists even in the face of external challenges. Whether it's sitting in silent meditation, practicing loving kindness, or engaging in breath awareness, meditation is a direct path to cultivating inner peace. Buddhism also teaches that inner peace is achieved by letting go of attachment and desires. Attachment to material possessions, relationships, or specific outcomes often leads to inner turmoil when these attachments are threatened or lost. By practicing non-attachment, you release your grip on the things that create stress and anxiety, allowing you to experience a sense of freedom and ease. This doesn't mean detaching from life or becoming indifferent. Rather, it involves engaging with life fully while recognizing that everything is impermanent. By letting go of the need to control or cling to external factors, you create a space for inner peace to thrive. Another important element in prioritizing inner peace is cultivating a mindset of acceptance. Life is full of uncertainties and challenges, and trying to resist or control everything can lead to frustration and inner conflict. Buddhism encourages us to accept things as they are, rather than as we wish them to be. This doesn't mean passive resignation, but rather a recognition that there are aspects of life beyond our control. By accepting what we cannot change, we conserve our mental and emotional energy, which can then be directed toward positive and constructive actions. Acceptance allows us to flow with life's changes rather than struggling against them, which is a key to maintaining inner peace. Prioritizing inner peace also involves practicing compassion and forgiveness, both toward ourselves and others. In Buddhism, compassion is considered a fundamental quality that leads to a peaceful mind. When we cultivate compassion, we develop a deep sense of empathy and understanding for the suffering of others, which helps to dissolve feelings of anger, resentment, and hostility. Forgiveness is an extension of compassion and is essential for letting go of past grievances that disturb our peace of mind. By forgiving ourselves for our mistakes and others for their wrongdoings, we release the emotional burdens that keep us trapped in negativity, opening the way for inner peace to take root. A significant aspect of maintaining inner peace is simplifying your life. Modern life often involves a constant bombardment of information, demands, and distractions that can overwhelm the mind and erode inner peace. Buddhism teaches the value of simplicity and contentment as a means to achieve peace. By simplifying your life, reducing unnecessary possessions, commitments, and distractions, you create a more serene environment that supports your inner tranquility. This might involve decluttering your living space, simplifying your daily routine, or spending more time in nature. Simplicity allows you to focus on what truly matters, reducing stress and making it easier to maintain a peaceful state of mind. Inner peace is also nurtured by cultivating gratitude. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you naturally foster a sense of contentment and well-being. Gratitude shifts your attention away from the sources of stress and dissatisfaction, helping you to appreciate the positive aspects of your life. This shift in perspective is crucial for maintaining inner peace, as it prevents you from getting caught up in a cycle of wanting and dissatisfaction. By regularly practicing gratitude, you reinforce a mindset that is conducive to peace and happiness. Another critical practice for prioritizing inner peace is setting healthy boundaries. In a world where external demands can easily intrude on your time and energy, it's essential to establish clear boundaries that protect your mental and emotional well-being. This might involve saying no to commitments that don't align with your values, limiting your exposure to negative influences, or creating time for self-care and reflection. By setting boundaries, you create a safe space where inner peace can be nurtured and sustained. Inner peace is deeply connected to living in alignment with your values and principles. When your actions, thoughts, and words are consistent with your core beliefs, you experience a sense of integrity and harmony that fosters inner tranquility. In Buddhism, this alignment is often referred to as living in accordance with the Noble Eightfold Path, which includes right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. By adhering to these principles, you cultivate a life that is in harmony with your deepest values, reducing inner conflict and promoting peace of mind. Another aspect of prioritizing inner peace is practicing self-compassion. In Buddhism, self-compassion involves treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a close friend. It means acknowledging your struggles and imperfections without harsh judgment or self-criticism. By practicing self-compassion, you create a nurturing inner environment where peace can flourish. This practice helps to soften the harsh inner dialogue that often leads to stress and anxiety, replacing it with a more gentle and supportive mindset. Prioritizing inner peace requires ongoing practice and commitment. It's not a one-time achievement, but a continuous journey of growth and self-awareness. Life will inevitably present challenges that test your inner peace, but with regular practice, you can develop the resilience needed to maintain tranquility even in difficult times. This might involve daily meditation, mindfulness exercises, or simply taking a few moments each day to reconnect with your inner self. The more you prioritize inner peace, the more it becomes an integral part of your life, guiding you through the ups and downs with a steady and calm presence. Prioritizing inner peace is a transformative practice that can significantly enhance your quality of life. It involves cultivating mindfulness, meditation, non-attachment, acceptance, compassion, and simplicity, among other practices. By making inner peace a priority, you create a foundation of stability and tranquility that allows you to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and resilience. This inner peace is not just a personal benefit. It also radiates outward, positively impacting your relationships and the world around you. As you continue to cultivate and prioritize inner peace, you will find that it leads to a more joyful, harmonious, and meaningful life. 11. Embrace impermanence. Embracing impermanence is one of the most profound and transformative teachings in Buddhism. Impermanence, or anicca in Pali, is the understanding that everything in life is transient, constantly changing, and ultimately impermanent. This concept is at the heart of Buddhist philosophy and is essential for developing a deeper understanding of life, suffering, and the path to enlightenment. Embracing impermanence can lead to a greater sense of peace, freedom, and acceptance in your life, allowing you to live more fully in the present moment. The first step in embracing impermanence is recognizing that change is an inherent part of existence. Everything in the universe, from the smallest atom to the largest star, is in a state of flux. This includes our thoughts, emotions, bodies, relationships, and even the world around us. Nothing remains the same from one moment to the next. By acknowledging this reality, we can begin to let go of the illusion of permanence and the false sense of security that comes with it. This realization helps us understand that clinging to anything, whether it's material possessions, relationships, or even our own identities, will ultimately lead to suffering, because these things are bound to change or pass away. Understanding impermanence also helps us to develop a sense of humility and perspective. When we recognize that everything is temporary, we are less likely to take things for granted or become overly attached to our successes, possessions, or even our identities. This awareness encourages us to appreciate the present moment and to live more mindfully, knowing that each moment is unique and fleeting. It also fosters a sense of gratitude for what we have while we have it, whether it's our health, relationships, or opportunities. Embracing impermanence is also a powerful tool for dealing with loss and change. Life is full of transitions, some welcome, others not. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or the changing of circumstances, impermanence teaches us that these experiences are a natural part of life. By accepting that change and loss are inevitable, we can approach these experiences with a sense of equanimity and resilience. This doesn't mean that we won't feel sadness or grief, but it does mean that we can move through these emotions with a deeper understanding and acceptance, knowing that all things are transient. In relationships, embracing impermanence can lead to deeper, more meaningful connections. When we understand that our time with others is limited, we are more likely to cherish and fully engage in our interactions with them. We become more present, attentive, and appreciative, knowing that the moments we share are precious and cannot be repeated. This awareness can also help us to let go of grudges, resentments, and unrealistic expectations, allowing us to love and accept others as they are, rather than trying to control or change them. Another important aspect of embracing impermanence is letting go of the fear of death. In Buddhism, death is seen not as an end, but as a natural part of the cycle of life. By accepting the impermanence of our own existence, we can approach death with less fear and more peace. This understanding encourages us to live our lives more fully, with a greater sense of purpose and urgency, knowing that our time is limited. It also helps us to develop compassion for others, as we recognize that all beings are subject to the same cycle of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Embracing impermanence also plays a crucial role in overcoming attachment. Attachment, in the Buddhist sense, refers to the clinging or grasping at things, people, or ideas, in the hope that they will bring us lasting happiness. However, because everything is impermanent, attachment inevitably leads to suffering when what we are attached to changes or disappears. By understanding and accepting impermanence, we can begin to loosen our attachments and cultivate a sense of detachment or non-attachment. This doesn't mean being indifferent or uncaring, but rather engaging with life fully while maintaining an awareness that everything is temporary. This perspective allows us to enjoy life's pleasures without becoming overly attached to them, and to face life's challenges without being overwhelmed by them. Embracing impermanence encourages us to be more adaptable and flexible in our lives. When we understand that change is constant, we become more open to new experiences and less resistant to change. This flexibility is crucial for navigating life's uncertainties and for personal growth. It allows us to let go of rigid expectations and to flow with life's natural rhythms rather than struggling against them. This adaptability not only reduces stress, but also enhances our ability to find creative solutions to problems and to embrace new opportunities. In the context of personal development, embracing impermanence can lead to a deeper understanding of the self. In Buddhism, the concept of anatta, or no-self, is closely related to impermanence. It teaches that what we perceive as a fixed, unchanging self is actually a constantly changing collection of thoughts, feelings, and experiences. By recognizing the impermanent nature of the self, we can let go of the ego's need to define and defend itself, leading to greater freedom and self-awareness. This understanding helps us to see ourselves and others more clearly, without the distortions of ego and attachment, and to live more authentically. Embracing impermanence also encourages us to focus on what truly matters. When we realize that our time is limited, we become more selective about how we spend our time and energy. We prioritize meaningful relationships, purposeful work, and activities that bring us joy and fulfillment. We are less likely to waste time on trivial pursuits or to be distracted by materialism and superficial success. This focus on what truly matters leads to a more intentional and fulfilling life, where each moment is valued and appreciated. The practice of embracing impermanence can lead to a deeper sense of compassion and empathy for others. When we understand that everyone is subject to the same impermanent nature of existence, we become more compassionate towards their struggles and more supportive in their times of need. This shared understanding of impermanence fosters a sense of connection and solidarity with others, as we recognize our common humanity and the transient nature of all our experiences. Embracing impermanence is not about resignation or passivity, but about living with a greater sense of awareness, acceptance, and engagement with life. It is about finding peace in the midst of change, joy in the present moment, and wisdom in the understanding that all things are interconnected and constantly evolving. By embracing impermanence, we free ourselves from the illusion of permanence and the suffering that comes with it, and we open ourselves to the beauty, mystery, and richness of life as it truly is. Embracing impermanence is a powerful and transformative practice in Buddhism that can lead to greater peace, freedom, and fulfillment in life. It involves recognizing the transient nature of all things, letting go of attachment and fear, and living with a deep sense of awareness and acceptance. By embracing impermanence, we can develop resilience in the face of change, deepen our relationships, overcome the fear of death, and live more fully in the present moment. This practice not only enriches our own lives, but also fosters a deeper connection and compassion for others, as we recognize the shared impermanence of all beings. As we continue to embrace impermanence, we find that it is not a source of despair, but a gateway to a more profound and meaningful experience of life. 12. Let go of ego. Letting go of the ego is one of the most profound and challenging teachings in Buddhism, and it is considered essential for achieving true liberation and inner peace. The ego in this context refers to the sense of self that we cling to, the idea that we are separate, independent entities with a fixed identity. This belief in a permanent self, or atta, is deeply ingrained in us, shaping how we perceive the world, interact with others, and experience life. However, Buddhism teaches that the self is an illusion, and that clinging to this illusion is the root cause of much of our suffering. The first step in letting go of the ego is to understand the concept of anatta, or non-self, which is a central doctrine in Buddhism. According to this teaching, what we perceive as the self is actually a constantly changing collection of thoughts, feelings, memories, and experiences. There is no permanent, unchanging core that we can call I or me. This concept can be difficult to grasp because our sense of self feels so real and solid. However, through mindfulness and meditation, we can begin to observe the mind's processes and see how the sense of self is constructed moment by moment. Letting go of the ego doesn't mean denying your existence or becoming passive. Rather, it means recognizing that the ego is a construct that often leads to suffering. The ego creates a sense of separation between ourselves and others, leading to feelings of isolation, competition, and conflict. It drives us to seek validation, power, and control, often at the expense of our inner peace and well-being. By letting go of the ego, we begin to dissolve these barriers and open ourselves to a more interconnected, compassionate, and harmonious way of living. One of the key practices for letting go of the ego is mindfulness meditation. In meditation, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without becoming attached to them. We begin to see that these mental events are impermanent and do not define who we are. This realization helps us to disidentify with the ego and to cultivate a sense of spaciousness and detachment. Over time, this practice can lead to a profound shift in how we relate to ourselves and the world around us. Another important aspect of letting go of the ego is embracing humility. The ego often drives us to inflate our sense of importance, to seek recognition and praise, and to assert our superiority over others. This need for validation can create a constant undercurrent of anxiety and dissatisfaction, as we are always trying to prove ourselves. Embracing humility involves recognizing that we are not the center of the universe and that our worth does not depend on external achievements or recognition. It means seeing ourselves as part of the larger whole, no more or less important than any other being. This shift in perspective can bring a deep sense of peace and contentment, as we no longer feel the need to compete or compare ourselves to others. Letting go of the ego also involves cultivating compassion and empathy. The ego tends to focus on the self, on our needs, desires, and grievances, often at the expense of others. By shifting our focus outward and developing a deep sense of compassion for others, we begin to dissolve the boundaries that the ego creates. Compassion allows us to see others not as competitors or threats, but as fellow beings who share the same struggles and aspirations. This shift from self-centeredness to compassion is a powerful way to weaken the grip of the ego and to foster a sense of interconnectedness and unity with all life. Another practice that helps in letting go of the ego is the contemplation of impermanence. The ego is often built around the idea of permanence, that we have a fixed identity, that our possessions, relationships, and achievements define us, and that these things will last. However, as Buddhism teaches, everything is impermanent, including the self. By regularly contemplating the impermanent nature of all things, including our own identity, we can begin to loosen our attachment to the ego. This realization frees us from the constant striving to maintain and protect the ego and allows us to experience life with more fluidity and openness. In addition to these practices, letting go of the ego involves recognizing and overcoming the traps of pride, vanity, and attachment to identity. The ego often manifests in the form of pride, whether it's pride in our accomplishments, our abilities, or even our spiritual progress. This pride can create a sense of separation from others and can lead to arrogance and judgment. By recognizing these tendencies in ourselves and consciously letting go of them, we can reduce the ego's influence over our thoughts and actions. This requires honesty, self-awareness, and a willingness to confront our own weaknesses and limitations. Another aspect of letting go of the ego is the practice of selfless service, or dana. In Buddhism, selfless service is considered one of the highest forms of practice because it involves acting without attachment to the self or the desire for personal gain. By engaging in acts of kindness and generosity without expecting anything in return, we begin to erode the ego's need for validation and recognition. This practice helps to cultivate a sense of humility and interconnectedness, as we realize that our true fulfillment comes not from serving the self, but from contributing to the well-being of others. Letting go of the ego also involves embracing vulnerability. The ego often seeks to protect itself by creating a facade of invulnerability, hiding our weaknesses, and avoiding situations that might challenge our sense of self. However, true strength comes from embracing our vulnerabilities and acknowledging our imperfections. By being open and honest about our struggles, we not only weaken the ego's hold on us, but also create deeper, more authentic connections with others. This vulnerability allows us to experience life more fully without the fear of judgment or failure. Another important aspect of letting go of the ego is surrendering the need for control. The ego thrives on control over our environment, our relationships, and our own identity. However, this need for control often leads to tension, frustration, and conflict as we try to force life to conform to our desires. By surrendering this need for control and accepting life as it is, we can experience a profound sense of peace and freedom. This doesn't mean being passive or indifferent. Rather, it involves trusting in the natural flow of life and letting go of the ego's constant demands. Letting go of the ego is also about embracing the present moment. The ego is often preoccupied with the past, regretting mistakes, holding on to grudges, or with the future, worrying about what might happen, striving for success. This preoccupation pulls us out of the present moment and creates a sense of dissatisfaction and restlessness. By focusing on the present moment and fully engaging with whatever we are doing, we can quiet the ego's chatter and experience a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. Finally, letting go of the ego is a continuous process, not a one-time achievement. The ego is deeply ingrained in our psyche, and it can reassert itself in subtle ways even as we progress on the spiritual path. Therefore, it requires ongoing practice, mindfulness, and self-awareness to keep the ego in check. This might involve regular meditation, self-reflection, and a commitment to living in alignment with the principles of non-attachment, humility, and compassion. Letting go of the ego is a profound and challenging practice that is central to Buddhist teachings. It involves recognizing the illusory nature of the self, cultivating mindfulness, embracing humility, practicing compassion, and surrendering the need for control. By letting go of the ego, we can experience a deeper sense of inner peace, freedom, and connection with others. This practice not only reduces suffering, but also opens the door to true liberation and enlightenment. As we continue to let go of the ego, we discover that our true nature is not the small, separate self we once believed in, but a vast, interconnected consciousness that is at peace with all of existence.